Today, I will be discussing how to avoid a bad trip. So recently, I've had a couple of my friends come to me saying that they experienced quote-unquote bad trips, and they wanted to know how to prevent a bad trip in the future. So the first thing I want to address in this video is it's my belief that there really is no such thing as a bad trip. Essentially, the way I look at a bad trip is a bad trip was just an experience in which you might not necessarily have been equipped with either the right mindset, the right environment to handle the things that have come up during your bad trip. A lot of times what happens during bad trips is, you can experience trauma loops where you're just going through the same trauma, that you might have gone through when you were a kid over and over and over again. And maybe you weren't forewarned that that could happen. Maybe you didn't understand that that could even happen. But it can happen. And the truth of the matter is a lot of times when you are presented with that, it's my belief, no matter whether you're doing mushrooms, ayahuasca, whatever it might be, that what you are given is what the medicine feels that you need to overcome. So yeah, you might experience a bad trip, but the way I look at it is that was your opportunity to try to do some level of work to overcome that. So yes, I do view all trips as essentially good and nothing bad about them, but you can have bad experiences, and it's my goal with this video to teach you how to avoid having bad experiences. And through doing so, I hope that you have whatever experience is necessary to help you feel more fulfilled and to have a positive experience with whatever psychedelic it is that you choose to use. So, first things first, with any psychedelic, especially mushrooms, is I recommend that you pay special attention to set and setting. So set refers to your mindset and setting refers to the environment in which you are tripping. Just to kind of glaze over it, you have to go into your experience, your journey, with a mindset that isn't full of fear. You have to go into it with an understanding that this is going to help you. This is going to help you to go to the next level in your growth. It's going to help you with any trauma that you might have experienced, processing it. It's going to show you where you are your own roadblock. So understanding when you are tripping that this is something that is meant to help you. So a lot of people will go into it and they will be totally in fear, totally scared and intimidated, afraid to let go and all of those things, when that doesn't help you. When you focus on that before you trip, that just amplifies that whole feeling 10 times plus when you actually do trip. So going into it with a good mindset is totally beneficial. But not only that, but also being aware of the environment in which you are tripping in. I encourage tripping in an environment where you feel comfortable, in an environment that is clean, in an environment with people who you trust. So that can also help you to avoid having a bad experience. I highlight set and setting so much because I have seen it myself firsthand with friends who have tripped. When I was in Ecuador, I met a guy at a hostel who was talking to us about doing ayahuasca in a few days. And he went into it with a lot of ego. He thought, oh, this is going to be a bunch of bullshit. I don't know why I signed up for it. And hearing the guy speak, I don't even understand why he signed up for it, because he just didn't seem like that was where his head was at. He didn't seem like he was ready to do the work. He had a lot of ego going into it. And then he did experience the ayahuasca, and I was so hopeful that it was going to be what he needed to work through the kind of bullshit that he had to work through. But unfortunately, after he experienced ayahuasca, I had talked to him about how his experience was, and he had an awful experience. He had an awful experience because he walked into it with a lot of ego and with a lot of fear, a lot of doubt, and he just wasn't in the right headspace to have a good experience. So I say that because so much rides on your mindset going into your journey. So the second thing that I recommend you do to have a good experience, to avoid a bad one, is to weigh out whatever it is that you're taking. So I'm mainly referring to mushrooms here, but understanding like how big of a dose you might be taking with LSD or ecstasy or any of those things is so important. Now, I recommend weighing out or being very cognizant of how much you are taking, because you know, there's such a different experience between 0.5 grams of mushrooms and 5 grams of mushrooms. And if you're going into it and you're a total newbie, you have no idea what it is that you're going to experience through doing it, you need to understand how much it is that you're taking, and also do your research to understand what kind of effect that much mushrooms is going to have on your experience. And then not only that, but if you do have, let's say, a 4-gram journey and it's just way too much for you, and you know that the next time that you journey you want to take less, that helps you to have something to go off from. So you know, okay, 4 grams was a bit too much, next time I'm going to weigh out 2 grams, and 2 grams should be fine. So always weigh out how much it is that you're taking, so that you have some kind of reference point to look back on when you want to dose in the future, or to understand whether that was too much, that was too little, and then from there you can find your Goldilocks experience. And I encourage you to weigh out dried mushrooms, because dried mushrooms is going to be different than wet mushrooms, fresh mushrooms. The third thing is setting an intention. So this kind of goes with the first thing of set and setting. So setting an intention helps you to clear your mindset when doing whatever it is that you're doing. Setting an intention helps you to kind of clear your head, of all the fears, all your worries, your preconceived notions, all of the programming surrounding what it is that you're about to take, and it just helps you to focus in on something that will help you to have a good experience. So a lot of times what my intention is before taking my mushrooms or whatever is I focus in on the idea of, I want this experience to give me whatever it is that I'm meant to have. I want to have a positive experience. If I'm feeling very anxious before like a microdose, I'll take a microdose with the intention of, this is going to help calm me down. So walk into your experience with an intention, and always know that you can go back to your intention when you do feel like a bad experience is happening. So when you do find yourself maybe in a thought pattern that won't stop and it's just on a continuous loop, try to remember then what your intention was when you first began. And maybe through remembering your intention and focusing in on your intention, that can either help you to process what you're going through, or can help you to kind of go on to where you're supposed to go from there, so you're not just stuck somewhere where you don't want to be. Fourth tip to avoid having a bad trip is to have a trip sitter, especially if you are new to tripping. So a trip sitter traditionally is somebody who has a psychedelic experience, somebody who has done mushrooms before and feels confident in their ability to help guide you through your trip. They don't necessarily have to be babysitting you, but they could be in the next room over and just ready to come to your help should you need comfort, should you need some kind of person to rely upon to help you get out of a negative headspace, or just knowing that should shit hit the fan, you do have somebody the next room over who can help you. So trip sitters are certainly important and something to not overlook, especially, like I said, if you are new. It helps a lot to know that just if you need someone can be right there, somebody who has experienced mushrooms, or somebody who maybe is just open-minded enough and cares enough about you that they're willing to take off about 4 or 5 hours of their day and just chill around with you, waiting for a chance to help you if necessary. So those are my 4 tips on how to avoid having a bad trip. Remember that the trip is essentially what you need. It shows you what you need to work on. And a lot of times from there, it's up to us how we process it and how we integrate that into our regular everyday lives. So guys, thank you so much for watching my video. If you want to learn more tips on how to have a safe journey with psilocybin, please go ahead and check out my ebook, which is linked in the description below. It's Safe Travels, an essential guide to journeying with psilocybin. You can find my ebook at mushroomebook.com. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, comment below if you have any advice that you would want to give somebody to avoid having a bad trip. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. Peace.